Hello, witches, wizards, and muggles alike. Welcome back to Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show. I'm your host, Mr. Honest, coming to you from the highest tower in Hogwarts, resident Ravenclaw, and your friendly neighborhood Potterhead. Today, we're covering chapters 5 and 6 of Order of the Phoenix. And honestly, these chapters are just growing on a story that I'm loving more and more every time I keep pressing forward, especially coming back to you with these episodes and getting to kind of break them down. There's not a giant action sequence in these chapters. There's not a massive magical showdown, but there's a ton of world building, character development, political tension, family drama, and some very important setup for things that will echo throughout the rest of this series. So let's head to number 12, Grimmauld Place, meet the Order of the Phoenix, and talk about Sirius Black and why he might be one of the most tragic characters in all of Harry Potter. Let's get into it. So chapter 5 picks up with Harry finally arriving at headquarters. And honestly, it's not exactly what he imagined. Neither did I, actually. He escaped Privet Drive. He's back with the people who care about him. And he's reunited with Sirius. But almost immediately, we can tell that something feels off. Sirius reveals that number 12 Grimmauld Place is actually his childhood home. And that's a huge reveal because suddenly this creepy house isn't just a headquarters, it's personal. It's filled with Sirius's history, his family, his trauma. And as much as Harry hated being trapped at Privet Drive all summer, Sirius has been trapped here. One thing I really noticed this time around is how similar Harry and Sirius are in these chapters. Both of them feel isolated. Both of them are frustrated, and both of them are angry that they're being left out in their own ways. Harry has spent the summer locked away with the Dursleys. Sirius has spent the summer locked away in a house he never wanted to see again. They're almost mirrors of each other. Then we finally get our first real look at the Order of the Phoenix. And I love this section because it expands the conflict in a huge way. Up until now, Voldemort has mostly felt like Harry's problem. Now we realize an entire resistance movement is reforming. The Order isn't sitting around waiting for Voldemort to make his move. They're actively trying to stop him from rebuilding his power. We learn he's recruiting followers. He's trying to gather giants. He's reconnecting with old allies, and he's moving carefully. And that's one of the most interesting details in this chapter. Harry asks why Voldemort isn't killing people left and right. Why isn't there chaos already? And the simple answer is because Voldemort is smart. He doesn't want attention yet. He doesn't want the wizarding world united against him before he's ready. He wants to build his power in secret. And that's honestly scarier than open warfare. I think one of the other cool points raised was Voldemort didn't want any of the wizarding world to even get a hint of him being back. I mean, people would have noticed Harry died, but there could have been a ton of separation if he died at the end of Goblet of Fire. And Harry witnessed his revival, and he also got to escape and tell Dumbledore about it. So this is actually causing Voldemort to act a bit more quiet and strategic, which is dangerous and scary in that of itself. And then we get one of the biggest discussions in the chapter, Cornelius Fudge. I find Fudge super fascinating because he's not evil, he's afraid. And fear makes people do stupid things. Fudge knows that if Voldemort is back, everything changes. The ministry changes, his job changes, the world changes. People panic. And instead of facing reality, he chooses denial. It's easier to believe Dumbledore is wrong, but it's easier to believe Harry is mistaken. It's easier to believe that everything is fine. And that's what makes Fudge dangerous. He's not dangerous because he's malicious, but because he's comfortable. And sometimes people protect comfort more fiercely than truth. But for me, the heart of this chapter isn't Voldemort. It's the argument between Sirius and Molly Weasley, because both of them genuinely love Harry. And that's what makes it hurt. Molly sees Harry as one of her own children. She practically says it, and she's watched this kid suffer for years. She's always been there. She's watched him face things no child should ever face, and her instinct is to protect him, to shield him, to let him be young for as long as actually possible. But Sirius sees things differently. Sirius believes that Harry has already been dragged into this war. He believes that keeping Harry in the dark won't protect him. And honestly, both of them have a point. The line that really gets me is when Molly says, "He's not James, Sirius." Yeah, that's one of those lines that lands pretty hard in this chapter because Sirius immediately gets defensive. And I think part of the reason he gets defensive is because there's some truth there. Harry reminds him of James. How could he not? He looks like him, he acts like him, he's brave like him. And Sirius has lost so much. Sometimes I think seeing Harry is the closest thing he has to getting his best friend back. Not because Sirius doesn't love Harry for who he is, but because Harry constantly reminds him of what he lost. It's such a complicated and painful relationship, and Rowling handles it beautifully. Then we move into chapter 6. And on the surface, they're cleaning a house. That's basically the plot. But underneath that, this chapter is doing so much work because Grimmauld Place isn't really a house. It's a museum, a haunted museum. Everything inside it represents the Black family. Old ideas, old prejudices, old traditions, things that refuse to die. This entire house feels like it's trapped in the past. And nowhere is that more obvious than Kreacher. Let's talk about Kreacher, because he comes off as a bit comic relief. He's funny, he's muttering insults, he's sneaking around, he's causing problems. But at the same time, I can't help but think a bit about it, and I can't stop thinking about how sad he is. Kreacher is what happens when someone spends years marinating in bitterness. Yes, years of hatred, years of isolation, years of being taught terrible values. He's loyal to the Black family because that's literally all he has. And Sirius hates him because Kreacher reminds him of everything he escaped. Every time they interact, they're basically reopening old wounds. It's uncomfortable, it's messy, and it's incredibly human. Then we get one of my favorite reveals in the entire chapter, the Black family tree. And suddenly, the wizarding world feels tiny. Sirius is related to Tonks. Sirius is related to Bellatrix, a big character from the movies that I'm thinking we're finally going to actually meet soon. And Sirius is also related to Narcissa, which means Sirius is related to Draco Malfoy. And it's one of those moments where you realize these pure-blood families have been intertwined for generations. And the deeper we look into that family tree, the uglier things become. Blood, purity, status, disowning family members, cutting people out of history. It's all there. And Sirius has literally been burned off the family tree tapestry. That's such a powerful image. His own mother erased him, not because he was evil, not because he was cruel, but because he refused to believe what she believed. Then we hear about Regulus Black, and I think this section deserves attention. Sirius dismisses him, calls him an idiot, calls him a Death Eater, and, maybe he's right. Maybe that's all there is to the story. But I don't know. The way Rowling spends time talking about Regulus here feels deliberate. We're told he joined Voldemort, we're told he got scared, and we're told he died. And for now, that's all we know, but it's enough to make me curious. The other thing I love in this chapter is learning that Sirius ran away from home at 16. Almost the exact age Harry is now, 15. Or is his birthday happened yet? He might still be 14. And where did he go? Well, to James Potter's house. Harry's grandparents took Sirius in. They treated him like family. And suddenly we understand why James and Sirius were so close. They weren't just friends. They were brothers. And that's honestly beautiful. But it also makes Sirius's current situation even more tragic. Because he escaped this house already. He escaped this family. He escaped everything it represented. And now he's trapped back inside of it. Every hallway reminds him of something painful. Every room reminds him of something painful. Even the house elf hates him. And that's rough. And finally, hanging over all these chapters is Harry's hearing. It's easy to forget because so much else is happening. But Harry never forgets. Not really. Even when he's laughing with his friends. Even while they're cleaning. Even while he's learning about the Order. There's this constant fear in the background. What if I lose Hogwarts? What if I get expelled? What if I have to go back to Privet Drive permanently? And honestly, one of the sweetest moments in these chapters is when Harry asks Sirius if he can come live with him if things go wrong. Because that tells us exactly what Harry wants. Not fame, not glory, not adventure, just a home, just a family, just somewhere he belongs. These chapters don't have dragons, they don't have graveyards, they don't have giant battles, but they build the foundation for everything that's coming. We learn how Voldemort operates. We learn why the Ministry is failing. We learn who Sirius really is on a deeper personal level. We meet Kreacher, we explore the Black family, we learn about Sirius's mom, almost directly from her in that portrait. And Harry finally begins stepping into a much larger conflict than he's ever faced before. Next time the hearing arrives at the Ministry of Magic, Harry's future at Hogwarts hangs in the balance. And trust me, Order of the Phoenix is just getting started. It's been an honor talking to you today. My name is Eric, aka Mr. Honest. This has been Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show. Join our Discord server. Let's talk more about this. The Honestverse, a hub for all my creative endeavors, which is mostly just Marvel Maniac and Magic Muggle. So don't be afraid. Hop in. Let's talk Harry Potter. Let's talk Marvel. And you're always welcome. Thank you for those who listen. I know you're out there. Rate the show. Give it a 5-star rating, a thumbs up. Leave a nice review. It goes the longest way possible. And that is about it. Until next time, wands down, hearts full.